all these kits come with these two little clips right here. And what you want to do is spread them out, because they always come collapsed. So make sure you get them nice and open. And then the other thing you want to do is put some glue onto here to hold them in place so that they don't go flying off if you ever have to remove the kit. All right, so we're gonna set this aside. So we are gonna be doing a steering wheel control interface. For this, we're gonna be using an SWIRC. Now they do have a newer version of this called the CP2, and the main difference between the CP2 and the RC is, for one, they have a really nice phone app for the CP2. Two, it'll do multifunction, meaning you can have one button do two things. And three, it comes auto-programmed. You don't have to actually program anything if you don't want to. And how you program the CP2 is with dip switches. With the RC, you have to turn the dial here. So we're gonna do Kenwood. Now it also comes with a ton of paper because it's not an app-driven thing. So if you would like something a little easier, personally I feel the CP2 is the easiest add-on steering wheel control interface out there. The RC isn't too bad if you can get past all the paperwork. So where to begin? We're actually gonna start with this guy right here, and we're gonna look up this car. Fernando, what year is this Mazda?
2005.
2005 3 Series. What I like to do is put dashes all across the area that I'm gonna be looking. That way when I turn my head and I look back, I don't go, oh crap, because there's like 500 cars on one page. Now what this is telling me is that we're gonna be using the white wire in the harness. The plug that we're gonna use is the Mazda 24. That's gonna be on this group of paper right here. That's gonna be this guy. And then we're going to find a pin 10 white black, and then this module needs to be programmed for 3, so we're going to write 3 on the back of the module just like this. And then if we want to look at the note, it is note 39, which is on this piece of paper, which is going to be page 2. In page 2, note 39 reads, white wire to pin 10, white black, to vehicle connector. Connect pin 9, brown yellow, of the radio connector to chassis ground. So always make sure you go and read the notes, because they don't always put that secondary ground on this portion. Alright, so now we can look at this guy here. Let me pull my glasses off so I can see something that small. Pin 10 is over here in the middle, and pin 9. So it's going to be these two guys right here. So it's going to be these wires right here that we're going to be attaching to. This guy here, we want to save this one. This is the programming sheet, so we're going to set this one aside. We don't need this one. This just has to do with the white red and white black wires. They soldered on resistors to make our jobs a little bit easier, so we don't need this because we're not using that. Really, at the end of the day, we don't need all these pages either. We just need 39, and if we wanted to, we only need that one as well. We can throw those away. We're not going to need this guy here, so we can throw that away. And we just need that little piece right there. So now we have a Raptor harness. Where we need to go are these guys right over here, and there's nothing there. However, we may be able to steal these two wires and repin them. Let's go into the car and see if there's anything connected to those. Checking, we can lightly plug this in. These two guys over here where these two guys are at, and there's nothing there. Here's our two steering wheel control wires. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and remove those two wires from here, and we'll move them over to here, and we'll use those for our steering wheel control wires. So there's a little tooth inside that when you slide this guy into the top, it pushes that tooth down, and then all you have to do is fold that tooth back up. Now we'll use the solid blue as the ground, and we'll use the blue white as our white. Grab our steering wheel control harness. Now what we need is red and black. It's going to be accessory and ground, and there's going to be two black wires that actually wire off the black wire into two, which is nice. And then we need the white wire. Now the white is going to be, as we said, branched off into white, white black, and white red. We don't need any of those guys, so we can go ahead and remove all that. And then all these other colors on here, you have a brown loop and a purple loop. You don't want to do anything with those need to stay. But the green, the orange, the yellow, and the blue wires, those can all be removed from the harness because we don't need them for this install. Now if you want to keep your steering wheel wires forever because you're planning on buying a new car, just cut those wires short. That's up to you. They bring it back to us. We have tons of these. If he comes back and says, hey, you know, you did that, I give him a new one. More important to have the clean install, not have all these wires in the dash. Alright, so what I like to do is I like to add in all my wirings a little bit down. I don't like having big groups here, so what I've added in is the power and ground for the steering wheel control. And I've also added in a secondary power and ground. That's for the backup camera if he ever decides to add one. We'll go ahead and put some shrink wrap over these solder points. All right, so we went ahead and matched up the steering wheel control, so that's all soldered in. So now our steering wheel control is part of this harness. It's all one big piece. Now all we have to do is match up the Kenwood harness to this. Color for color is what we're looking at here. For those of you that don't know, red's accessory, black is ground, yellow, constant 12 volts, orange or orange-white is gonna be illumination. The white set is going to be driver's front, the gray set's gonna be passenger front, green set's gonna be driver's rear, purple set's gonna be passenger rear. The solids are positive, the blacks are negative. Let's go ahead and make this happen. All right, so we went ahead and finished up the harness. Like I said, we put the extra accessory in ground, so if you ever want to add a backup camera to it, it's there. On a Kenwood, the trigger for it is on the radio. We've already taken care of that side. We added a remote turn on here so that if you ever decides to have a sub, well, you guys know, we just talked about it a couple minutes ago. So this is all set. We need this piece of paper right here because we're going to turn to this page right here, which is page 3. We want the Kenwood section, which is the 3rd row here. Let's hop into the car, let's program it, let's get this thing knocked out.
Before you cut something in the dash, make sure you don't have nothing behind it.
Go ahead and turn the car on. Let's program the steering wheel controls.
Okay, you have the key?
I don't have the key. What? Key's right there. What do we got? Volume up, down, track up, down, mode, and mute. Perfect. All right, go ahead and turn it on. 1, 2, 3. Now it's gonna flash 3 times. 2, 3. So basically what you want to do is make sure you're holding the button down when you turn on the car. It's going to go solid. Then that number we wrote on the back here, you're going to push this button, then it'll blink that time. Now we want to come over here to our Kenwood, and we're going to go press it once, get volume up, volume down, mute, source, and then skip track up, track down. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to wait until it times out. If you need to skip over something, like for example in this case there's play, you're not going to use that. You just hit the button and it'll go to the next function that's available to you. It just blinked a bunch of times. Go ahead and hit volume up, volume down. They're all flashing the light, which is what we're going to look for. Now we can go ahead and plug in the radio and see if it works when we plug in the radio. Now when you go to program steering wheel controls, you can program it with it plugged in the radio, with it not plugged in the radio, with the car started, car, you know, just an accessory like this. I will tell you, if you are having problems, do it with the car running and the unit plugged in. All right, so we'll go to radio. Let's try the volume. Volume up, volume down.
Mute.
Yeah.
Source.
All right, so we're good. We have that all working. So what we might need to do is try the original plan, which was moving it all the way to the back.
Well, what we can do is I can screw it and screw it a little bit this way.
Well, no, I think it's because it's not. Did you screw it out or did you screw it like it's not
like
out? Okay, let's push it all the way back and see what that gets us.
Right there.
Yeah. Grab a piece of 1/4 inch. Just grab a piece of 1/4 inch. It's like no wider than this. That's better. Tap it. Okay, well, that's kind of nice, I guess. Grab some of the black foam tape. I want to see if I can get it to where it slides in and is up high enough. Like for example, like I think we need to put a riser here, kind of tip the radio up some. Grab me another piece of 1/4 inch. Oh. Alright, so now the real question is, how do we make that so that that doesn't... So It's almost like we need to cut that off. Can we? Where's the screws for this? Can it like make it any worse? All right, cool. Yay! Now, by all means, whatever you need to say, R2. Cool. Now, most of the time, as you guys know, we wouldn't have messed with this kit. We would have just grabbed another kit, ours, and just said, let's put that in, because it's just a waste of time. The problem is that all these kits suck. If you've done one of these and you have a better one, by all means, let us know. Yeah, they all stink, so, you know, if I'm gonna waste time, might as well waste time with what they have. This guy is done, thankfully. We're going to move on to the next Mazda. You remember the Mazda? We just talked about it. This guy right here, that one. That was the one plug that's cut. Fernando went next door, grabbed some Ford D800. We have the BHO, which is what we're gonna use to go into the car, and then we'll just use the BHA to plug into it. All right, this guy's done, as we like to say. On to the next one. What we're gonna do in the Mazda is reattach a harness. As we said, we're gonna use this Ford harness. We only need to worry about the wires that are in this plug. Well, that'll make things a little bit easier. The one wire, however, that is not in this plug is the amplified antenna wire for some reason. So this white red right here is the amplifier turn on. It's not in this, but we'll go ahead and make sure we add it to ours. We have our cordless soldering gun. We have some solder. We're gonna need some strippers, not the good kind. We're gonna need some shrink wrap and some cloth to cover up the dash. So let's head into the car. Take a look and see what we got here. So we want to look for an orange. So anytime I'm doing one of these, I like to get to the power first. More than likely the fuses for it are going to be blown, but I just like to get to it, get that one out of the way just in case it isn't blown. I don't want it to spark against something else. The other thing we want to do is try to clean up the harness here a little bit, get everything about the same length. All right. Now, because I'm not a big fan of surprises at the end, we're just gonna go ahead and grab our digital multimeter. We're gonna set it to DC, which is the line with the dots. And we'll go ahead and test our two first connections, which is the constant 12 volt and accessory. And we're in luck. Constant 12 volts is good. Like I said, that's why I like to get it out of the way first, because if that fuse isn't blown. Let's test the accessory. And we're good there, we have accessory. We'll go ahead and get our ground out of the way next. Now, if you're not lucky enough, like us in this case, well, if you want to call it luck, to have a harness half cut like this, you can test all these wires with your digital multimeter. The 12 volt wire will have power when the car is off, like we just saw, and the accessory will have power when the key is on. Now, he has steering wheel controls on his steering wheel. He's not retaining them. We know because we just did one of these that these two wires here are the steering wheel controls. And then we have these two wires here that are supposed to be illumination, but they're not giving me anything. So I'm going to save those a little bit later. All right, so what that leaves us with now is our speaker wires, which are all right here. This has a Bose premium system. They went ahead and whacked off that. That's wonderful. We'll go ahead and connect all these up. We're going to break these into their pairs first. Now, you could find these using a tone generator by powering up the remote turn on and then tapping on one with one side of the tone generator and working your way through the harness until you get just one side or the other side playing. So the harness is all back together. What we did is we capped off all the wires that we didn't end up using and we left them outside of the taped up harness just in case we need to go back and use them for something. In this case, like we said, steering wheel controls. If he wants them, we can always just grab them here. We also left those extra wires on the plug here so that we can add them into this if we need to. Now, Fernando's gone ahead. He's over there. He's finished up his. As you can see, he's aimlessly looking out the window waiting for me to say, hey, we're done. You can bring me the harness.
We're done.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in. All right, so cool. We have another double DIN mounted into one of these cool Mazda kits. So we can see if this one fits any better. Looks better. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn it on and see if it works. It's not even close.
Oh, these kids don't suck.
Alright, so this kit turns out is a best kit, and it too fits like crap. So they ran all the wires in this, we're just finishing it up. And of course, they normally you put your excess like Bluetooth mic. Dude, I don't even know. They must have plugged it into this, put the radio in the dash, and then pulled the wire, and then zip tied it up in the headliner. Alright, I'm gonna grab some plastic, try to do the same thing we did in the last one and this one. So we're done with this Mazda 3. That's 2 in a row. I'm good. I don't need to do another one of these. You installer guys out there, if you've worked on these and you have some secret that we don't know about, by all means, please share, because I would love to do a nicer job on these kits. I'm not a fan of any of them. They're terrible. Let us know what you guys think. All right, I don't know if there's anything next, but I'm just gonna say it. On to the next one. Next up on the list of things to do is this the Malibu?
That's a Malibu.
We have a Chevy Malibu, this guy right here. And we're gonna go ahead and put in this radio with a pack kit and steering wheel controls. I know, right? It's nice when people pay for those things, because, you know, I just feel like losing them is such a loss. I mean, don't get me wrong, I never use mine. Every now and then, I like to hit that button and know that it does something. So let's take a look at this dash, shall we? So this one has that nice silver trim panel that everyone always loves to break. Be super careful when you're pulling this guy out. And I blame GM for that, because there's like 10,000 little clips that hold this on for no reason. No reason at all. They don't need them. And they're metal clips holding plastic. Bad idea. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get this out, and we're gonna put an AVH 501EX, the RC, and a C2R GM11. Let's get back in the car though and actually get this radio out. All right, so the big problem that most people run into when taking this out is that they try to separate this silver piece here from this dash, and believe it or not, this and this are all one piece. To start, we're gonna pull out the gear shifter. Go ahead and get this key in. Lift this up. Lifts up, pulls back. You just need to pull it back a little so you can get to these 2 7mm underneath here. Now, as you can see, this thing is super flimsy. It's just put together so poorly. And I mean, look at this. You have these giant clips here. This is made to come apart. So that goes like that. You have 4 giant clips here, 6 giant clips here. Totally not necessary. And you have this real thin plastic.
Be careful.
So super careful. So we got the radio out. We'd already put a high level to low level in here already. We just need to unclip our stuff and add in the new radio. So we'll do a little bit of trimming here, get out our LP72 from this. Normally, you guys know we put these back by the amplifier. In this case, we knew he was gonna be getting a radio in a couple weeks. We didn't film the install on this, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so we're good. Well, I'm gonna head over to the bench, get this, and then you can do what you're gonna do. You do what you do, baby. So in this box, we have some stuff. We have the wiring harness, the Bluetooth mic, USB extension, bag of screws, remote control. So for the kit, we're gonna use the 352 kit. Now the 352 has these top pieces here. This is one of those GM universals. Some cars need those, some cars don't. The easiest way to figure out if your car needs it is to go ahead and grab the factory radio. In this case, it doesn't, so we'll go ahead and grind those off. All right, there we go. They're all nice ground off and have a little bit of roundness to them. All right, let's set these aside. Let's talk about these. Now we just talked about the RC, so we don't really need to talk about much there. However, what we just need out of here is the harness and this guy. The programming page that we were using too, that says pack on it. You're gonna want that. Other than that, you're good. You're not gonna need anything else out of this. The reason why is because we're doing a C2R. C2Rs are the harnesses that are made to interface with the RC. Grab the instructions. Now for the most part, it's just a regular smart harness. It's got a brain, it plugs in. It's got a 1 amp output, so it doesn't have enough to turn on a backup camera. But this guy right here, this wire, this light green wire that looks like like an emergency brake wire. It's not. It has a flag on it. It says SWC output, use version 1. So what that's telling us is that, you know how we just wrote on the back that number 3? We're not going to use that number 3. We're going to use the number 1. So let's open this guy up. And right here in the middle of the page, it says using output wire, connect the SWIRC green output wire to the pack SWI interface. Use the green SWI interface wire and program the SWI interface for version 1. Do not cut brown loop. So what that means, you write a 1 on the back. And of course, this is a Pioneer, so we'll go ahead and turn our dial to 7. Now on this harness, what it was just telling us is that we're going to connect the green that's on this harness to the green that's on this harness. That's it, other than accessory and ground. So we're not going to be using any of the other wires. So of course we're going to leave our brown and our purple loop. The rest, the orange, the yellow, the white, and the blue, we can pull all those out. We're not going to need them. And unlike the car we just did, this doesn't need the secondary ground either, so we can remove that. So now we just end up with 3 wires, which are my favorite, the Christmas colors, the red, green, and black. Now there is enough output power to power up the steering wheel interface. However, that's it. So they do give you a nice relay diagram right here. So if you're gonna do a backup camera or anything like that, go ahead and add this relay into it. So now your RC is all set and ready to go. It's attached. There's no extra wiring. There's no repinning. There's no nothing. You have 2 modules in this car. That's it. So now you just have your standard wiring going on here, as we've talked about all the other cars today. Just a matter of matching up the colors to the Pioneer colors here. Go ahead and get that done real quick. All right, so the harness is done. We have our remote turn on right here. We're grabbing our steering wheel papers. We'll grab our harness. You ready, Fernando?
Ready?
All right, let's get this thing in the car. Alright, so this guy is in. We'll go ahead and set the date and time. Alright guys, another mission complete. Radio and dash, all good there. Yay. Alright, Fernando, give it to him.
Yes. On to the next one.
Yes.